8-year-old nephew for Christmas, and I'm just really interested in what your thoughts are, what sort of feedback you've gotten maybe from boys engaging with the series too, because I feel like, when there's this marginalized group, it's like, oh, it's for those people.
Right.
But
It's
obviously
for everybody.
for anyone.
It's definitely, we think that a boy can enjoy it just as much as a girl. It features more female characters, but we all grew up seeing a lot of male heroes, and we were okay. So I think it's good for little boys to see female heroes too. So it's definitely I've had a lot of little boys come up to me at Comic Cons and say how much they love it, and say how Bumblebee's their favorite character. We have a whole new generation of boys coming up, and it's people like you that are making sure that they see these other character portrayals it's really important.
And at conventions, I get this from dads a lot. I'm going to throw back to My Little Pony, since that's the other title I work on, and DC Superhero Girls, because they're both female-driven books. Ponies, they're girls. DC Superheroes, majority girls. And dads are like, oh, I don't want my kid reading that because it has female characters. I'm like, well, what's wrong with that? I'm like, you let your kid read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I'm like, all right, why do you let your kid read that? They're like, well, it's these 4 brothers going on these adventures, having a great time and bonding. And I'm like, really? So, you know what these stories are? I'm like, exactly the same thing. They're just girls fighting crime, doing amazing things, getting to know each other, growing together, and they just happen to be female. And then it's like, touche. So after my little conversation, most dads come back to me a show later going, all right, you're right, it's a good read. I'm like, what did I tell you? So you just got to change your perspective that girls like the boys' stuff. Why can't boys like the girls' stuff? It's amazing stuff. If it's good work, it's good work.
I think you just have to keep pushing that that's a narrative, it's not a truth.
Yeah.
Like this idea, and when I was in comics in 2008, people would always call something like a girl's story. Like the first graphic novel I did, they were like, this is a story about girls. And we were like, it's a story about high school.
Yeah.
Like, and it's true. Like we grew up reading boy stories. Like I grew up reading many things, obviously. But I think that it's not that I was like, well, I don't understand this if it's if it's in England, I don't get it. Or if it's in China, I don't get it. Like you do. Like that's the whole point of reading.
Yeah, emotions are universal.
Yes, they are.
How do you feel about what DC does? Of course, you start off with DC Superhero Girls, you start them off young, and then you did Supergirl Being Super, which is more of a teenage type story, and then you move into the adult stuff. Do you think DC is doing a really good job of doing that step-by-step process of going from childhood to adulthood with their books?
I don't think I think of it that way. I think of telling good stories. So I like writing a lot of the kids' stuff. I like the target age that DC Superior Girls is for. And I think, comics, how many titles does DC put out every month? They better have something for everyone. So I think that's the only way the comic industry is going to survive and grow.
Yeah. Also, I think, it's like YA isn't for kids completely. I mean, how many, when they go to like a Harry Potter party, everyone's like 14.
Very true.
Like, this is only for these people. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Lumberjanes. Technically, the Lumberjanes is for,
that's a good book, yeah.
like middle grade. So I think it's about being true to that age, not necessarily for that audience.
Just writing smart stories. Like we were talking about the next table, is kids understand a lot more than you think.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And they could read the smart stories. And when you write books like what Shea does with DC Super, it's real smart. She's writing this for that age thing, but she's writing it that if you're someone else reading it, you can still enjoy it because it's a good story. It's a fun story. And when you focus on that, you could get all different types of audience, and that's what the market needs right now. It needs different audiences. We can't just be gearing towards the exact same people because it's not going to grow. So DC's being really smart right now. They're like, okay, what don't we have? What do we think people want? And they're actually giving them different stuff. Now you can have kids and adults and teens, everyone reading something.
And that was my point. Yeah.
Love it.
To piggyback on that point, where do you see comic books going, let's say 10 to 20 years from now, as far as representation or telling those untold stories that have not been told before?
I think it's got to be that it's just got to be continually more diverse and understanding what diversity actually means. That it means in terms of like class and race and body type, and it's not just like let's just switch up
Age.
like that, like United States where we just like switch up the ages or whatever. It has to be that we really are started seeing that there's more stories to be told, more experiences, and you're going to embrace the complexity of all of those things. So that it's not just that like, oh, well, we've made this character Asian. It's that we understand all of the things that you can be when you're Asian.
Hopefully, yeah.
And we've seen huge breakout successes in the non-cape side of comics recently too, graphic novels, and just having more complex storytelling and just creating that diversity of voices behind the stories as well.